So, Joe, when you read into this, we know that the Democrats on Chairman Neal's committee have argued that they need the access. They want these tax returns in order to understand how the IRS administers the presidential audit program, right? So that's their side. Meanwhile, you have Treasury arguing it's not a legitimate legislative purpose. Who has the upper hand?
Well, Brooke, Congress has the upper hand. And, they've laid out a few good reasons, but the fact remains they don't need any reason. I mean, Congress, it's very clear that Congress has the right to any American's tax returns simply by asking for them. In fact, I almost think that they kind of undercut that position by putting out these reasons. I mean, they have to do it for legal purposes because now they're in court. But the reality is the law is really straightforward. If the appropriate congressional committee asks for an American's tax returns, the secretary shall provide them. Full stop. Definitely the advantage here, it's not happening, but the advantage is to Congress.
Okay. Rachel, we know Chairman Neal was under pressure from other, liberals on Ways and Means. Did he have any other options?
I mean, no. Look, the White House has been blocking dozens of congressional investigations into the president. The only remedy that Democrats have right now is going to the courts. And so that's what you're seeing them do here. The question really is, I think, how long is this going to take? There was a private presentation about less than a month ago, a few weeks ago, in which the House counsel told House Democrats this could take months. This could drag into 2020. And so the big question on everybody's mind is, how long is it going to take a judge to rule? The White House will then appeal it to, an appeals court. It could go all the way to the Supreme Court. Do these tax returns come out in 2020 just before the election? And if so, are they going to be embarrassing the president? That's a big thing we're going to be watching.
Joe, ballpark. I mean, do we have any idea how long this may take?
It will not be in 2019. It will be in 2020. Questions out there whether it's before or after the election. The other question is, too, just because Congress gets these returns does not mean they should become public, right? There's a process here. So the first step is for Congress to secure them, and they clearly have the legal right to do that. Now, making them public, that's another story that, of course, Congress has to work through.
I know that there are two other court cases, just looking at other court rulings, right? So other court cases, Trump has tried to stop House Oversight, House Intelligence Committee, and House Financial Services Committee from getting his financial records from banks, et cetera. And then trial judges, we know, have sided with Congress on this, to your initial point. So when it comes, how will those other rulings have an impact on this?
Those were kind of an insurance policy for Democrats on the Hill. Basically, after Michael Cohen came up to Capitol Hill and said that Trump underestimated his wealth for tax purposes to avoid taxes and overestimated it for the case of getting loans from banks for his business, lawmakers said, look, we need to get these statements of financial condition that Trump has been using for years with his company. And so they subpoenaed this information from his private banks, from his private lenders. And that was where the Trump folks stepped in and said, no, do not listen to those subpoenas. We're going to sue you. Well, we've seen in courts that judges so far seem to be agreeing with the Democrats in the House that they have the authority to investigate that. We're going to see these decisions come out as soon as July. And, it's interesting because the White House has been blocking a lot of these investigations and really kept them from moving forward. Well, those are going to speed up in July. If we see these rulings, we could see this information finally be made public. And we're also going to see Robert Mueller come to Capitol Hill. So Democrats who have been frustrated for months because of stonewalling, they're going to potentially see some action that they've been waiting for a long time in terms of their investigations.
Joe, what do you think?
Brooke, I think, as many things, it's a question about legal philosophy versus political expediency, right? Conservatives who support the president like to say that we like to review statutes and interpret them based on the plain English. Well, this statute is really plain, right? It says that Congress shall get these tax returns. So it'll be interesting to see if people defending the president now kind of chuck aside that philosophy and say, well, in order to get to the result I want, I think courts should look at this and that and the other. The reality is the law is plain. Congress is entitled to these tax returns. Eventually they get them. The only question is when.
All right.
And also,
go ahead,
I was just going to say, Trump has been stacking the bench with conservative judges, so we'll have to see if his measure to sort of do that will help him in the long run, right?
That's why that story is so important in the big picture, right? Rachel Bay, Joe Moreno, thank you both so much.